All right, this is asking something very simple, right? We got a line, we got points, we got a slope. That's what they want. So we need to memorize the slope formula. So I don't care how you do it, but you got to memorize it somehow. So one very generic, simple way of doing it is remember that the slope is equal to the rise over run, right? So the change in the y over the change in the x. And the way you can kind of remember that is that it is that in the morning you have to rise out of bed before you go for a run, right? Rise first, then run. If you run first, then you're sleepwalking and you're going to hurt yourself because that's very dangerous. So rise out of bed, then go for a run. But the more technical way to remember this formula is, let's do it down here. You want to do the change in y over the change in x, meaning we want to take a difference, right? The two y coordinates that we're going to choose, we're going to have to subtract them to find the change, the difference. That's what change means. You've got some options here, right? There's a lot of points listed on this graph. Now there are others, there are some that even aren't listed that look like they're kind of on the dots, on the lines here. We don't know for sure, so the safe bet is to just choose the points that are kind of like consistent or that are labeled for us. So the two that I would choose, because I'm lazy, is right here, the 9 3/5, and then -6, -27/5. And my reasoning is, I know that it's kind of impossible for me to avoid the fractions, so I'd rather all the fractions be together, right? So that way I can just deal with them once and not have to, move around between them all. So what is this going to look like? Okay, so change in y, so pick a y1. So let's do this one, and this will be my 2. Okay, so consistency is important here. So y1 is 3/5, and then y2 is -27/5. And notice I'm doing the parentheses because there's a negative already in the formula. And then, yes, there's a negative in the point, but those two things need to be accounted for. It's not just the one negative, there's two, and so the parentheses help my brain account for that and see that it's doubled, and that way I don't make a mistake as I go through it. So, small step, but it adds up. And now the change in x. So again, we got to be consistent, so we got to go to the 9 first, and then the -6 is the other x. So, it's messy, but now it's just arithmetic. Now I just can solve all this. So you could just in your calculator. I'm going to do it without one just to kind of practice all the steps here. So 3/5, this is going to be 3/5 plus 27/5. Ooh, 27/5 over 9 plus 6, right? Get rid of those double negatives. So that's going to be 30/5 over 15. And rather than, this is lucky, I can just reduce, right? So 30 divided by 5 is 6. So 6 over 15, we should really reduce that fraction. Both of those numbers are divisible by 3. So 2 over 5 is the answer, and that is the answer. So there you go. Not so bad if we know the formula. If we don't, kind of screwed. So you got to memorize this formula. We know that lines in general are the most important part of the SAT. The linear equation y equals mx plus b is going to come up again and again and again. So we need to know that formula, but occasionally we need to calculate slope this way. And so this formula also, rise over run, or this one, y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. You just memorize it all, know how to calculate a slope. It'll very likely come up on your test.